Now we will continue with Cemil Koyunoğlu. Since we have switched the places of Dila Hocaoğlu and Cemil Koyunoğlu yesterday, we will continue with Cemil Koyunoğlu from the Yalova University. His speech title is a review on the catalyst effect of bentonite in biofuel production from algae. The stage is yours.
Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about how effects of bentonite as a mineral material for the production of fuel from algae. So let's start why bentonite is useful for the production of fuel. I want to explain theoretically first of all. If you imagine a bentonite, it's a chemical structure of silica mainly, so it means it can easily combine with oxygen. So during the production of algae with biological reactions, so I will explain on the chlorella base species. There are some studies based on it. The first article is based on the harvesting effect of bentonite. So the conditions of experimental is, I can say, the pH range between 4 and 10, and the flow of the CPAM is 1 milligram per liter. So they take about 3 minutes. So after this experiment, they used lots of kind of mineral, but the point here is the bentonite increase the efficiency of the oil from algae. The second article is mainly based on the chlorella vulgaris species. The effect of the bentonite they used in this study. So they investigated that the increase of the bentonite ratio in the media of the cultivation. So after the experimental results, they found the peroxides activates is increased. The third one is the same species based. So they focused on the only plasticizer adsorption, because the bentonite is useful for adsorption reaction in the chemical industry. They use the surface agents mainly in the chemical industry as well. So in this study, they use a kinetic method to see how bentonite affects of the removal of the BPA molecules in the medium. So there are some blending options in the experimental sections. In the first step, they blend with microalgae and lignin. So it means they have high value carbon. So after the reaction, the ratio of hydrogen and carbon increased. It means the silica elements in the bentonite combine with the oxygen. So the results, the remains hydrogen and carbon ratio will increase. In the same subject, and the same step. So the fifth article, fifth study, we can say if bentonite usage in the also some element composition in the medium, in the same chemical behavior as I can say absorption. So in this study they characterize only the catalyzed effects of the surface. So they use UV visible, NMR, LCMS and FTIR. So they can see after the some chemical mixture. So bentonite structure can easily transfer some anions to the remain solution. I guess in the last article, but there are lots of study based on the chlorella species. I don't know why another species they couldn't study. So in this study, the chlorella vulgaris algae cells, they use bentonite as a chemical, as a catalyst. So in the absorption based, the bentonite can remove chromium ions from solutions. So it can increase the zeta potential of the solvent. So as you may know, the bentonite and another mineral kind boron minerals can affect on the solution to get balance in the minerals in the solvent. So they can put lots of groups in together in the solution base, so the chemical reaction can easily occur in the medium. The reference of the chemical behavior of the bentonite is a zeta potential. So if you can observe zeta potential of any solution in the algae medium, so you can see the homogeneity of the chemicals. So it can say you can increase oil production in the algae. So in theory, as I mentioned before, so the reaction mechanism of the bentonite can benefit in the medium homogeneity of the ions. So in the study you can see in the ferrite composite in the solution can be removed by the bentonite, so it can easily provide a homogeneity of the solution. If I have time. Okay. So if you want to produce more fuel from the algae, so you cannot use high value of the bentonite. There are some limitations. So if you want to observe the limitation of the bentonite, you can make the Langmuir isotherm based study. So you have to find the limit solution of the bentonite. In this study, they used some experimental design methods called as the Taguchi. So they can use they used about 10% of catalyzed concentration. So there are also the another minerals in the bentonite called the magnesium oxides. So it is very important mineral to absorb the oxygen in the algae medium solution, so it can increase the yield of the oil content. It means the maximum energy content. In this study, they produced the biochar with energy intensity of the 21 and 26 megajoule per kilogram. So it can same value as the coal value. So it is very important study. So in this study, they used the bentonite, and the raw material is the waste, green waste, and sewage sludge. So they put each of raw material as a different phase, different step of the experimental. So they produced biocrude, gases product, solid and water phase product. So in this study, it is the chemical conversion of the algae. So they found that the Chlorella vulgaris usage, there is a synergistic effects of bentonite if you use in the hydrothermal liquefaction. This is a different chemical conversion method to produce fuel. So if you use the nanoparticle size catalyzed, so you can change also the efficiency of the harvesting of the algae. There is a study you can see in the slide. So if you use the thermal composition, thermal conversion, the particle in the nanoparticle size can benefit to put the unwanted materials, the kind some ferrous materials. So if you put magnetic nanoparticles with another particles in the medium, so you can increase the oil production. So there are lots of observation in the study. If you want, I can send by email with these calculations on the observations as well. So if you use the bentonite with chlorella harvesting, in this study they used the Langmuir kinetic method. So they found the second order reaction can increase the chlorella harvesting because they remove some materials in the medium. So they found some results of some specific temperature, some operation temperature. So they found the biosorption capacities increased. Thank you for listening. If you have questions, I will be glad to answer.
Thank you for presentation, Cemil Koyunoğlu.